Time. Most of us live as though we possess an infinite supply of tomorrows, pushing everything to a vague later, never realizing that later is the thief that steals our dreams. What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, you are holding a fortune in your hands and you might be throwing it away without even knowing it? Today's story follows a young boy who had every advantage in life, yet was trapped by a single, destructive habit that nearly cost him his entire future. Through a chance encounter with a wise sage and a profound, life-changing story of a fisherman, he discovered a truth that transformed his world. If you've ever found yourself saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I still have plenty of time," this story is the wake-up call you need. Stay with me until the end, because these few minutes could change how you perceive every passing moment of your life. Once, there lived a young boy who had everything a child could desire. His parents loved him dearly, his teachers praised his sharp mind, and he lived in the lap of comfort. Yet, despite these blessings, the boy carried one terrible flaw. He postponed everything. When his mother asked him to tidy his room, he would murmur, "I'll do it later, Mom." When a teacher assigned a project, he would think, "There's plenty of time left." When friends invited him to join a new class or learn a skill, he'd simply reply, "Maybe next time." Days blurred into months and months into years, while his peers learned to play instruments, excelled in their studies, and nurtured their talents. The boy remained stagnant. He was like a tree that refused to grow while the rest of the forest flourished around him. One day, after failing yet another critical exam, the boy sat alone, drowning in frustration and confusion. His father, seeing his distress, sat beside him and said gently, "Son, there is a wise sage who lives on the edge of town. Perhaps he can help you see what you're missing." The following morning, the boy made his way to the sage's humble hut. He found the old man sitting peacefully beneath a tree, eyes closed in meditation. As the boy approached, the sage opened his eyes and smiled. "What troubles you, my child?" he asked. The boy let out a frustrated sigh. "Oh, wise one, everyone tells me that time is precious and that I'm wasting my life. But I don't see why they worry so much. I'm young. I have my whole life ahead of me. Why should I rush?" The sage nodded thoughtfully. "Let me tell you a story," he said, "that might help you see what others see." He began. In a small village by the river lived a poor fisherman. Every day before dawn, he would walk to the riverbank with his net, waiting for the first light to begin his work. One morning, darker and gloomier than most, the fisherman made his way to his usual spot. The moon was veiled by thick clouds, and even the stars seemed to have abandoned the sky. As he walked the familiar path, he stumbled upon something. Reaching down, he picked up a small cloth sack. It was heavy, filled with what felt like smooth stones. "Must be a child's collection," he thought, carrying it with him to the water's edge. The fisherman set down his net and squatted by the river. The darkness was so absolute he couldn't even see the water. He could only hear its gentle, rhythmic flow. Time moved slowly in those pre-dawn hours. With nothing to do while waiting for the sun, he reached into the sack and pulled out a stone. It felt cool and polished in his palm. Without a second thought, he tossed it into the water. Plop. The sound echoed in the silence, bringing a small smile to his face. There was something oddly satisfying about that sound in the stillness. He threw another. Plop. Then another. Each throw became a small, mindless meditation. The fisherman began to reflect on his life with every stone he cast. Life is like these stones, he mused, heavy when you carry them all at once, but throw them one by one into the river of time, and they barely make a ripple. Stone after stone left his hand. He threw them lazily some far, some near amusing himself with the different sounds they made. The large ones made deep plunks, the small ones gentle planks. As he threw, the sky began its slow, majestic transformation. First, A thin line of amber appeared on the horizon. Gradually, like an artist's brushstroke, the darkness began to retreat. The river revealed itself first as a dark ribbon, then, slowly showing its ripples and currents. The fisherman reached into the sack once more. His fingers found only one stone left. He held it up, ready for one final throw. Just then, the first ray of the morning sun struck it. The stone exploded with light. The fisherman's heart stopped. His breath caught in his throat. In his weathered palm lay not a stone, but a raw, brilliant diamond. No, no, no. The cry tore from his throat as the terrible realization crashed over him. He turned the empty sack inside out, desperately hoping to find just one more. Nothing. He fell to his knees on the riverbank, staring at the flowing water that had swallowed a fortune beyond his wildest dreams. What have I done? He sobbed, clutching the single diamond to his chest. In my ignorance, in the darkness, I threw away a sack of diamonds' wealth that could have provided for my family for generations. He cursed his own hand. He was nearly out of his mind with grief. But nothing could be done. The time he had held the diamonds was gone. He could not turn back the clock. All his dreams had been in his hands, literally in his hands, and he had cast them away because he did not know their worth. The sage paused, looking deeply into the boy's eyes. Do you understand the meaning of this story, my child? The boy shook his head, his confusion replaced by a growing chill. The sage explained softly, you are that fisherman, and your life is that sack of diamonds. Every day, every hour, every moment that passes is a precious gem. But in the darkness of your ignorance and laziness, you are throwing them away, believing them to be worthless stones. You say, I'll do it tomorrow, and you toss away today's diamond. You say, I'm still young, and you throw away the treasures of your youth. You believe you have an unlimited supply, just as the fisherman believed he had a sack of mere pebbles. The darkness represents a lack of awareness, the failure to see how limited life truly is. By the time most people realize the value of time when the light of understanding finally dawns, they have already wasted most of their treasure. The boy's eyes widened. The sage continued, his voice warming. But there is hope. You are still young. The sun is only just beginning to rise on your life. Yes, you may have thrown away some diamonds already, but look, you still have so many left in your sack. The fisherman was fortunate that dawn came while he still held one diamond. You are even more fortunate. Your dawn is arriving while you still have years ahead of you. The sage placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. The question is, now that you know each moment is a diamond, will you continue to throw them carelessly into the river of wasted time? Or will you treasure each one, using them to build the life you were meant to live? Tears welled in the boy's eyes, but they were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of gratitude and fierce determination. He bowed deeply to the sage. Thank you, wise one. I understand now. I won't waste another diamond. From that day forward, the boy was transformed. When his mother asked for help, he acted immediately. When a teacher gave him work, he completed it that same afternoon. When an opportunity to learn rose, he seized it with both hands. His classmates were stunned. The boy once known as the school's greatest procrastinator became its most dependable student. Within a year, he had caught up to his peers and surpassed them. Years later, when he had become a successful and respected man, people would ask him the secret of his discipline. He would simply smile and tell them the story of the fisherman and his diamonds. We all have a sack full of diamonds, he would say. Each moment is precious beyond measure, but in the darkness of our ignorance, we treat them like worthless stones. The lucky ones are those who realize the truth while they still have diamonds left to spend. Don't wait for the light of understanding to come too late. Recognize the value of your time while you still possess it. You cannot recover the gems you've already thrown into the river, but you can ensure that from this moment on, you treasure every single one you hold. The dawn is breaking in your life right now. What will you do with the diamonds you still hold? This story teaches us that time is the most precious currency we own, yet we spend it as if it were dross. The boy's change proves that transformation is possible at any stage. The key is simply recognizing that every wasted hour is a diamond, lost forever. Look at your own life. How often do we treat our time like worthless stones? We scroll mindlessly through our phones, delay our duties, and silence our dreams, assuming we have infinite tomorrows. But time, once spent, never returns. The power of this story lies not in regret, but in awakening. The moment you truly grasp that every second is a diamond, everything changes. You stop waiting for the perfect moment because you realize this moment is already perfect. You stop saying tomorrow because you see that tomorrow is just an illusion we use to comfort ourselves today. As long as you are alive, as long as you are reading these words, your dawn hasn't fully passed. You still have diamonds in your sack. Will you continue to cast them away, or will you use them wisely? Success isn't about having more time. It's about recognizing the value of the time you already have. The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't isn't luck or talent. It's that successful people treat their time like